Hi, I'm Carl with frugalberry.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to convert vinyl records, or LPs, to MP3. And you should be able to do this pretty much for free unless you need an adapter of some kind for your cable. Now what you will need is, this is an RCA cable. RCA on one side, and then headphone jack on the other side. I'll bring it closer so you can see it. There's the headphone jack side, and here's the RCA cable side. So the RCA cables, that's a pretty standard cable for a stereo system, and then the microphone jack is pretty standard also. So the other thing you're going to need is a turntable and a computer. In this case I'm using a laptop because it's convenient, and it's I can set it up right next to where I'm working. So I'm going to start by plugging my RCA connectors into the turntable. Now there's another RCA connector coming, or RCA cable coming off of the turntable, which I'm plugging into down below there. So I'm not actually going through the amplifier system at all. And then we plug this into the microphone jack on the computer. Make sure it's the microphone and not the headset jack. And another thing you're going to need is a piece of software called Audacity, which is free to download, and I will show you where to get that once I switch over to the computer here. So there are three different ways you can find this software. One, you can do a Google search for Audacity, that's Audacity, or you can go to audacity.sourceforge.net and download it there. Your Google search is going to take you there anyway. Or you can go to frugalberry.com. There's a link at the bottom of this video to take you directly to the post on Frugalberry, and from there there's a link to Audacity. So go to download the Audacity software, download and install it, and I'm going to assume at this point that you know how to do that portion. So we're going to start up with the software already installed. So here is the Audacity program. And before we start with it, there's a couple things that you want to do. We want to go to Edit and Preferences, and I'm going to go to Devices. We need to check that a couple things are set up correctly here for you to work with your computer. This may already be set up correctly, but channels you want to be set for stereo. Microphone here you want to be, or the recording device you want to be set for microphone, or whatever your main your jack device is that you're plugging into on your laptop or your computer, whichever you're setting up. So that's devices. Then we want to go to quality here, and we want to set our default sample rate. We want that at 44,100 Hertz. 44100 Hz, and that's going to give you your best recording quality. And then default sample format, we want 32-bit float, and between the two of those, that's going to give you the quality that we want for MP3. So click on OK, and now we're all set up to record. So I have the album, or the vinyl record, already on the turntable. It's all cleaned and ready to go. I'm on side A. We'll be recording side A and flipping it over and recording side B, all in one recording session in the software. So the first thing I'm going to do is press the red record button on the software, and that will get things started recording. We should see 2 tracks here. And then I'm going to lower the needle, and we should start seeing some squiggly lines appear on those two tracks. Now I'm going to press the control button and hold it, and press F3 several times until we have about 25 minutes worth of record time in our window here. And all that's doing is zooming out so that we can see things better. So you can look here and see the squiggles that are starting to appear in our record session. And we just sit and wait until side A is over. And we're going to keep recording and flip the record over and record side B all in one track, and then we're going to go through and edit it later. I thought I'd zoom in here on the laptop just so you can get a better idea of what happens when we start recording. So I'm going to press the record button, which is the red circle up here in the left, and so I'm going to click on that, and now we get two tracks that are starting to record across here. Now I'm going to press the control button and press 3 several times to zoom out. You can see the numbers at the top here changing. Here's 1 minute, 1 minute 15 seconds. Press control 3 one more time. Now we have 3 minutes here. Control 3 one more time. There's 6 minutes. And keep zooming out until we have 24, 25 minutes out here. This just gives you a better overall picture of what's going on. So we still have our line, our straight line over here, and as I put the needle onto the record, you'll see that spike a little bit, and you'll see some other squiggly lines start to kick in here as the music starts playing. Now, since we have this going into the microphone in, and I don't have the computer set up to play through the speakers, we're not going to hear anything, but this is actually the sound here that's being recorded as the music starts playing. And you can actually see a break in between the different songs. You'll see the music die down, or you'll see the squiggles die down to a straight line or somewhere close to a straight line. And that's how you know where the songs start and stop. But we'll get into that in a little bit here. So once the first side of the album is over, then we're going to keep the software recording, and we're just going to flip the album over and start it back up again. And then we'll be editing the different tracks out later with the software. Alright, so our album just finished up, and what we've got here over on the right, you should see all these squiggles fade down to just a straight line, and it's still recording right now, so I'm going to move my mouse over the orange square button here, which is their stop button, and press stop, and now we've stopped recording. So we've recorded through the album side A all the way through album side B, and now we just stopped recording. And we're going to go through and edit this. I'll show you that through a screencast instead of through the camera here, and that'll give you a better picture of it. But the next thing we want to do right now is save this. So we go up to the upper left corner, click on File, and Save Project As, and we get a little window come up here, and I like to call it the name of the album, which in this case is Peter Gabriel, and this is his first album, which has no subtitle, so I'll just call it First, just so I can distinguish it from other albums that I've done of Peter Gabriel. And click Save. So now I've saved that project. So I'm actually going to be transferring these files from the laptop to my desktop computer to do the editing. That's just my personal preference. I could still edit it on the laptop and be fine, but my desktop computer is a little more comfortable for me. Okay, so I'm now down on my desktop computer, and I've transferred those files from the laptop to here. If I click on File and Open, here are the two things that I need. We've got the .aup file and then the data folder. And so we're going to click on the .aup file and click Open. Alright, so here is our recorded track. Now if we look over here in this area, you can see this is where we switched sides from side A to side B, and there's a little bit of dead space in between in there. If I drag over to the right, we can see the very end here, and you can see where the needle came off, and then there's a couple seconds of dead space there before I stopped recording. All the way over to the left here, if we zoom in, I'm going to click press Control and 1 a couple times. We can see this is where the needle went on, and then there's some stuff going on here. Let's see what happens here. I'm going to listen to it and see what it sounds like. So press, normally if we have other tracks here, we want to press solo so that we're not playing the other tracks. But in this case we don't need to, so I'm going to press play and hear what we've got here. Okay, so let's stop that. Alright, so we can get rid of the needle pop here, and I'm just going to click, I'm going to click in there somewhere and drag to the left and press delete, and that gets rid of that. Now I'm going to zoom back out, press Control 3 a couple times. Looks like this is the end of the first song. I'm not sure about that. I'm going to press Control 1 again and Control 1 again, and it looks like there's some dead space in here, but let's just play and see what it sounds like. Yeah, so that's the end of the song. I'm going to click here, click once and drag left to select this first song, and Control X will copy it to our clipboard and take it out of there, and then click Tracks, Add New Track, Stereo Track. So now we've got another track here, and we're going to hit Control plus V, and that's going to insert that track right there. And now we just continue doing this with the other tracks. We move over here. Here's the end of the second song. Click and drag left, and Control X gets it out of there. Track, add new track, stereo track, and Control V inserts that track in there. Now what we want to do, this is actually our second track. I want to click on audio track right here and name, and I'm going to rename this. I'm going to call this T2 since it's our second track, and OK. And I'm going to come up here and rename this one T1. And these are just temporary names so we don't get our tracks mixed up here. Okay, and then when we go to save these, when we export these as MP3, then at that time we will give them their proper names. But for right now, these are just temporary names. So I'm going to continue doing this all the way through this album until we have however many tracks we've got for this album, 10 or 12 tracks, something like that. And then I'll pick back up again in recording. Okay, so here we are. Here's the original track. It's now empty. All the songs that were on there have been put into tracks underneath here, 1 through 10 actually. So I have no need for this track. I'm just going to go up into the upper left corner of that track and click on the X to delete it. And so now we just have our song tracks here. So now I'm in this area right here. I'm going to click to highlight this track, and then I'm going to go to File and Export Selection. And what I want to do here is figure out where I'm going to export to, and in this case I want a new folder. I'm going to call this Scary Monsters. Which is the name of the album. And enter. Okay, so now we want to name this the name of the first song, which is It's No Game, Part 1. And so I'm going to go into the file name there and highlight it. I'm going to backspace, and I'm going to type in 01 for the track number to give it, so just to keep our files in order. And then I'm going to call it It's No Game, and click Save. And now we get this coming up here. So now we fill in this information. I'm going to type in the artist as David Bowie, and track title, It's No Game, and actually on the album it says Part 1, but I couldn't do that in brackets in the actual name of the file. And album title is Scary Monsters. Track number, I'm going to type in 01. Now we put the 0 in front because otherwise when you get up to 10 our file names start getting messed up. So we just call it 01 and that takes care of that. The date on this is 1980. Genre, now we click in this. If I double click there, we get a drop down menu, and I'm gonna pull this down and I'm just gonna go right to rock right there, and I don't have any comments. So this is now done. I'm gonna click OK, and it's exporting this into an MP3. Alright, that took about 41 seconds to export that. So now we go down to this track number 2 and click in that same area to highlight, and File, Export Selection. We've already got our folder set up. So I type in the name of the next song. Again, I type 02 for the track before giving it this name of the song, and Up the Hill Backwards is the name of the song. Save. Now we notice that our information here is partly filled in. All I'm going to do right now is change our track number to 02 and our track title to Up the Hill Backwards. And OK. And now we're exporting that. And then you just continue doing that through all your tracks. That's all there is to it. Again, I'm Carl with frugalberry.com. Thanks for watching. And if you have any more questions, feel free to check out frugalberry.com. There's a link at the bottom of this video if you're watching this on YouTube or Vimeo. There's an article in Frugalberry that shows how to do this in a little more detail. Thanks for watching.